right? So it has been going down, and it says that I have enough for. It says I have 30 more minutes remaining.
Do you not have that bad boy plugged in?
It is supposed to be plugged in, but it. Here's the thing: it is plugged in through um the. Okay, so it's plugged in through a. Oh, okay. All right. There's the problem. I had it plugged into the wrong port, I think, and we may need to start recording over again, depending on whether or not I've just lost everything that I've done up until this point. So let's find out. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we might just start over. That might be what we do. Because we're really not. Oh, okay. So what are you at right now? What are we?
I've been rolling for about 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
2 minutes and 10 seconds. Okay. So yeah, let's start over.
Paul Goody!
Wait, not yet. Hold on.
Dang it. What was I looking at? Oh, that's what I was doing.
Okay. So apparently there are 2 ports for this. And the port that I plugged into was not the port that charges the laptop.
Is it a switched port? Are you talking about like a wall outlet or a port on the laptop?
Port on the laptop. So what I have is a docking station.
Yeah.
That goes into USB-C port. I had it plugged into USB-C port, but it was not the one that charges the laptop. And that has since been remedied. So, GudeLaurance.
Oh, Goody.
How's it happening, my friend Ben?
How's it happening? I think I was just, before we were rolling, I was telling you that I had this part of a song stuck in my head by RJD2.
Yes.
And I'm looking at my RJD2 songs on my iPod, and I can't find it. I'm wondering, do I have the artist completely? We keep it wrong here at the GudeLaurance podcast, and I think I have the artist completely wrong, but I don't know. Is it Massive Attack? Might be Massive Attack.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I know Massive Attack. I've served with Massive Attack.
You sir, are no Massive Attack.
No, but so what I'm going to do is I just found out about this is, our podcast is not sponsored. I just found out that Google allows you to sing stuff and will tell you what you're singing. So here's what I'm going to do, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to have you sing what's stuck in your head. I'm going to sing it. This is a game that we're calling Telephone. And we're going to see if Google is able to figure out what it is that I'm singing. All right? So I'm going to point at you. So for those of you who are not watching the live stream, you're just going to have to guess that I pointed at Ben. So I'm putting it here. It's saying play, sing, or hum a song. Oh, okay. Shoot. Nope. Okay.
I found it. I know what it is, so we'll do this game anyway.
Okay.
And I was right the first time. It is RJD2.
Okay. All right. Good. All right. So here we go.
Part 2, are you ready?
Part 2, are you ready?
Do you want to hear it?
Do you want to hear it?
Part 2, are you ready?
Part 2, are you ready?
Do you want to hear it?
Do you want to hear it?
Part 2, are you ready? Yeah. Do you want to hear it? Yeah.
Do you want to hear it?
That's basically
Part 2, are you ready? Yeah. Okay. It looks like right now it's not doing great. A 7% match is I'd rather give you and Ben, get ready to bleep this if you want. I'd rather give you my bitch by Sugar Free.
Bitch is fine.
6% match, Hot Pants by James Brown. She got to use what she hot pants. She got to use what she. Sorry, this is just gonna take a second. I don't think it's gonna play. Hopefully not.
That is so
Okay,
weird.
so she got to use. Okay, so it's hot pants. She got to use what she got to get what she wants. And then I'm stopping at this point because I lost the page and I'm not interested in doing back. So I'm gonna try something else really quick. Daydream. I fell asleep among the flowers for a couple of hours on a beautiful day. Okay, so 30% match for the actual song I was trying to sing. And then there's also one called Daydream in Blue. So it's a new thing. It asked me if I wanted to download.
Oh, Paul's frozen now. I wonder if it's
Couldn't have done that. What?
It's on me.
Oh wow.
No,
Yeah,
I think my internet for some reason. I think my computer heard that I was playing copyrighted music and turned off my.
Oh, that's exactly what happened. Yes.
I'm gonna play just the first little bit. I don't think we're gonna get copy struck by this, but here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard the Soulful Sound Part 1. Now, Part 2, are you ready? Do you want to hear? Part 2, are you ready?
Oh.
So I basically had that, just those few seconds stuck in my head all day. And the interesting thing, like Apple Music is done because that's RJD2. That is from an album called Dead Ringer.
Uh-huh.
But when I go to artists on my Apple Music app to RJD2, the album Dead Ringer is not listed. What up, Apple Music?
Oh, this is really weird, Ben. I think that my headphones are loud enough that it's actually picking you up. I'm gonna turn my headphones down a little bit. Yeah, it was picking you up.
It's your headphones should pick.
We'll see
that's how we hear each other. Oh, you picking me up on your audio?
Not on the mic.
Yeah,
I think so. I could be wrong.
That's happened before.
And now I am plugged into the right port because now it's at 9% and charging.
Number 9.
Number 9.
I don't buy souvenirs when I go on vacation, but I allowed myself a couple when I was on the road trip. One was a T-shirt from Waldrug, and the other one was this shirt from Roswell. Oh. I went to the UFO museum when I was in Roswell. Like I've said to other friends, if you have an afternoon in Roswell, it's a delight. I couldn't imagine spending any more time there.
But an afternoon.
An afternoon is great.
Wonderful.
You pay $8, you walk through the little museum they got there, buy a T-shirt and a coffee mug, which is what I did. It's fabulous.
So here's something. Ben, gonna guess the news. Ben, why is the shirt that you're wearing apropos for not necessarily today, but yesterday?
What? Something happened yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't it, but I wore this shirt on election night, and I realized that it says 1947, and we were electing the 47th president.
Now, here's the question, and this isn't part of it, but is he 47 or is he?
No, he will be the 40th. Yeah, so he will be the 45th and 47th president. That's how it works.
Wow.
He's not 45 part 2.
Now, if I know him, that's going to be a brag that he's going to have.
I'm the best president ever. I got 2 numbers. Everybody usually just has one. Barack Hussein Obama only has one.
And then he'll say, people are talking about Garfield. I don't care what a cat says. I love a Monday.
What happened yesterday was Trump nominated Matt Gaetz to be the Attorney General. Matt
Oh,
Gaetz
geez.
is a space cadet. Is that what you're talking about?
No, no. That's a very good point. Today's the 14th of November.
November 13th? Was it the anniversary of something?
No. I will just tell you because I don't think you're going to get it.
Probably not.
Oh, and Ben, I've been trying to be nicer these days. Regular listeners will know that I will keep Ben on for way too long. But it was the second time that people came to Congress and talked about UAPs,
Oh.
or earlier known as UFOs.
Yeah.
And once again,
I did not know that.
into the congressional record, it was stated that there are non-human intelligences
And what
behind these items.
a freaking world we live in these days where that happens and it doesn't even make the front page. Like, nobody, like, oh, UFOs, great. Come on, we're dealing with our own crap, okay?
Yeah. Okay, so I made a statement to someone earlier today, and I rescind my statement. The statement I made earlier today was that all of Trump's cabinet appointees that he's mentioned are all people that I've heard of. And therefore, it seemed to me that he actually, instead of having a list of candidates for each of the positions that he's then choosing from, he has a list of people that he's giving cabinet positions, and then he's choosing who to have.
He's basically rewarding his loyalists with cabinet positions. There's actually one name I did not know. His nominee for the Department of Defense, the director of Defense, Pete Hegseth, who is like a Fox morning news panelist. I'd never heard of him because I don't watch Fox News. I don't care.
Famous for saying, and here's the thing, Ben, you know me, I try to be a straight shooter. I think he was making a joke. I watched the clip. I think he was making a joke. Famous for saying that he hasn't washed his hands for 10 years.
Just in general, or after going to the bathroom? Because, like, how do you not wash your hands when you take a shower?
It was in relation to COVID and things like that. And he made a joke saying, I haven't washed my hands in 10 years. So basically, I'm inoculating myself. The way that he said it, I think he was making it.
Probably true. There is another clip I saw where he was doing some sort of like outdoor thing on the Fox Morning Show. And they were doing some axe throwing. And maybe you've seen this. And so
I haven't.
There's a big, axe throwing target.
That, yes, by the way, was me just acknowledging that I know what axe throwing is.
He's got the axe throwing target. He's got the axe in his hands. He chucks it at the target. It goes flying over the target. Cut to the drumline band that is, for whatever reason, rehearsing right behind this target. And the axe lands on one of the drummers. It lands on one of his drums. And, like, he has no idea it's coming, so it like shocks him and surprises him, and I don't know if he was actually hurt. It looked like might have been cut on a finger or something, but like that could have been real bad. Yeah, just Google Pete Hegseth axe thrower.
All right, I will take a look. So one of the big things, of course, is people are talking about the fact that we're trading in a higher ranking member of the military for someone who is lower ranking. And yeah, it's like, yes. Also, maybe RFK Jr. in charge of Health and Human Services.
That happened today. Trump announced today. Yeah.
So it's just, I mean...
Tulsi Gabbard is the director of the National Intelligence Agency.
This is the thing. When people talk to me about this stuff, I'm like, I'm focusing on state and local government. The federal government, there's nothing I can do. I mean, again, Was it you that explained tariffs to me last time that we spoke?
Probably.
I believe so. Yeah. Um, I I feel as though maybe we talked about this already. I'm trying to look on. Okay,
Always look. Anyway.
there are people who will try to make things better, right? In positions that Trump has no control over, et cetera, et cetera. How will tariffs be better? Well, there's really no way to do it. People have mentioned. I think you and I have talked about this already. Um, the companies in the U.S. will just raise their prices. And then even companies not affected by tariffs will raise their prices as well because
Oh,
why
the
not?
market can hold a higher price for this object. Let's raise our prices, boys.
Yep, exactly. So that's what's going to happen. Price hikes, etc. And it's one of those things where I feel like the only thing that may come out of this, the only good thing that may come out of this, is if the United States gets back. Well, we did talk about this. If the United States gets back into manufacturing, um, and if that happens, if they're getting back into manufacturing, the only way that that's going to work, because still tariffs for the materials coming in would be if the United States gets back into mining, etc., which is something that has been promised will happen. So maybe it's all part of a plan.
This is my cynical view of business. The United States is not going to get back into manufacturing anytime soon because it requires a large capital investment. But when you invest that much capital in your manufacturing plant, that decreases the amount that goes to the shareholders, and your shareholders get unhappy. So what you need is federal assistance to create your new manufacturing plant. And what? Oh, guess what? The government's all out of money now.
Oh, hey, by the way, Ben, that's a very good point. What is something that probably your city, but for sure my city, is going to have to perhaps deal with in the next 4 years?
More
And
homeless,
I know there's
larger
a lot,
effects
but
of climate change.
something specifically for is Seattle a sanctuary
Loss of
city?
art spaces. A loss of government funding for the arts.
Um, well, probably yes. I didn't think about that. But is Seattle considered a sanctuary city?
I think
I
so.
figure it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't heard that
Chicago
phrase in a
famously
long
is.
time.
But it's basically, hey, if you are, you know, uh, in the United States and undocumented, this is a city where you can go. And famously, governors of other cities will send them to, for example, Chicago.
Governors of other cities?
Governor Abbott, I think his name is. Where is he the governor of?
He is the governor of the state of Texas.
Okay, so Governor Abbott from the state of Texas sent a whole bunch of undocumented people to the city of Chicago, apparently.
Yeah.
Don't know how exactly he sent them. Was it by bus? Was it by air? Or was it by one of our lovely rail systems? Unsure.
I always hear about busloads of migrants being. I think it's buses. I think because it's the cheapest way. He's not going to buy a train ticket for them. He's going to hire out some Greyhound coaches.
So the people of the city of Chicago are of two minds. They fight back and forth amongst each other about whether or not we should keep being a sanctuary city or not. The mayor, who I have learned from Reddit, a lot of people in Chicago don't like, said that we were going to hold strong and everything. Like, oh, but this is the point. This is the point. Undocumented people are going to be, according to what Stephen Miller has said and also what Trump has sort of alluded to, removed from the cities by a red state militia, kind of.
Yeah, Miller has already called for a red state versus blue state militia standoff.
Yeah.
Which, yay, we're already talking about Civil War already. I can't wait because I know it's going to happen about all the stories about people regretting their vote for Trump. It's already started to happen. I heard a story where people in, I think, Iowa were there was a Google search that peaked in Iowa, how to reverse your vote. Yeah, that's not going to happen. That's Brexit style ignorance right there. But yeah, it's already started to happen where there was, I can't remember what news organizations it was, but they spoke with a bunch of Latinos in line for some sort of job service somewhere, I think in Arizona. And there was one guy who said, I can't vote, but I would have voted for Trump because I'm not a criminal. He's not going to deport me.
Yeah. And I don't know if you listen to...
He talks about... Trump and Steve Miller talk about deporting 20 million illegal immigrants. That's not... You're not being careful about the crimes they've committed at that point. You're just picking up anybody who has a Latin name.
If you listen to the numbers, right? Yes. If you listen to his rhetoric, I could see how you could come away with that. Thinking because
Are you not taking him literally?
This is the thing I'm saying. If you listen to it with the ears of, say, a 70-year-old white man living in Southern Illinois, what he's saying is all of them are criminals.
Yeah.
If you listen to it with the ears of a person who is, not engaged in criminal behavior, is just undocumented here, you hear it and you think, oh, he's talking about the bad people. That's who he's going after. I'm not a bad person.
Yeah.
Therefore, it's not going to affect me. This is where I think you and I have a little bit of a bonus as far as what's going to be coming up, because we're not under any illusions that it's going to be good. Yeah. I am thinking about this. We moved to Chicago because we wanted to be in a city. It was, honestly, affordable, and it was close to, where my parents are and everything. I try to, best place. Happened to also pick the city that, at least from what I can see, the next president of the United States has the biggest gripe with, or at least likes to use as a punching bag a lot. So, there are talks. I think I've mentioned this, but maybe not. So for instance, you and I, we rode the Red Line, right? Remember, the Red Line has our terminal station. Last station, it's the station by my house.
All passengers must exit.
When you're going south.
Yeah.
There is a section further south on 103rd, right? We're at 95th, 103rd. Oh, shoot, I did it again.
You don't live on 90. Anybody can look at the final street on the Red Line. That's public information.
Exactly. Yeah. So the next one, 103rd, there's some stuff there, right? So it would be useful to me to be able to walk to that station and then get to 103rd, because otherwise it's like a half hour.
Yeah.
To walk to 103rd. So yay! All right, looking forward to that. Federal funds were built into the budget for that project. So they're thinking that's not going to happen. They're also thinking about O'Hare. But this thing about, having the National Guard come in, right? The issue with it, just recently, ICE did a major operation, and they got and they were, there were criminal people. They got a whole bunch of people from Illinois mostly Chicago, in one of the biggest,
Stings.
stings in a while. How many people do you think it was?
30.
107.
All right, I wasn't far off.
Yeah, 80 of and 107.
Out of how many millions of people live in Chicago?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is the thing, right? It's really this is what I mean. Again, I'm back on Reddit, by the way. So stop the clock.
Forgot you'd gotten off of it. I'd love to see the cost per detainee.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but this is the other thing, is that right now, as it stands, the city of Chicago is trying to figure out where to build a place for the people that are here, for the undocumented people that are here, build some sort of a shelter type situation.
Okay.
And apparently, this is hearsay. And when I say it's hearsay, I mean I didn't look any of this up, but apparently one of the places they were trying for was unsafe. There were some sort of like a toxic environment,
like asbestos in the pipes or something.
Either that or Judith in intake was just really hard to deal with. But I think it was asbestos, something like that.
Yeah.
So this is the fun part, is that they said, how are they logistically going to pick these folks up? How are they logistically going to get them to somewhere else? Also, where is this place?
Put them on the red line.
Oh, the idea was what people were saying was that it was going to be a privatized prison, and that was
never a good idea.
That has not been built.
Yeah.
Just and not sanctioned by the city. Nothing like that. And until I figured out Gary, Indiana, and that's my idea, is that they're gonna Gary, Indiana is basically empty. Ghost town, etc.
Never been, but I've heard things.
I think that might be.
I've heard Gary is one of the cities in Indiana.
And let me tell you, when Jennifer and I were looking at places, I expanded my search outside of the city limits to see. By the way, I just got to say, the house that we live in, love it, right? It's great.
I'm glad.
It's really wonderful.
Unless you're saying that to make yourself feel better about buying the joint.
Oh, no, not at all. No.
Okay.
Here's what was happening, Ben. I was saying it, hoping that I would have, a little bit of reciprocation. Like, yes, Paul, I was there. I like it. It's a very nice house.
I was positive at first. I said, I'm glad. And then it started to sound to me like you were kind of covering for something. No. I really love this house. We're really glad. We're really glad we bought it.
Here's what was happening, Ben. I was about to say more details about the house, and then what you heard was my brain going, "Oh, maybe you shouldn't give too much information."
Yeah.
I really like my house. It's south-facing. The large south-facing windows and brick exterior really.
Just wait until the summertime.
Yeah, exactly. So, the big thing is that, like I said, on Reddit, one of the things that I've just started looking at is the Chicago subreddit.
Yeah.
And there's another one called Ask Chicago. And a lot of things have been popping up just recently. I'm from Texas, and I'm planning a move to Chicago. Where should I go? Hey, I'm from Texas. I'm thinking about moving to Chicago. Where should I go? Hey, I'm from Florida. I'm thinking about moving to Chicago. A lot of people are looking to move to Chicago from red states, it seems.
The Ask Seattle subreddit has a lot of not just like I'm thinking of moving to Seattle, but I am moving to Seattle.
Yes.
But I haven't clocked, like, I don't read those posts because I'm like, I got nothing. I don't want to spend time to
Wait,
engage.
are you following Ask Chicago?
No, it's Ask Seattle.
Oh,
I'm talking about.
okay. Sorry. Because the Ask Chicago ones are still very much like yours as well.
So,
Yeah.
but I don't. But it doesn't. I mean, it as time goes on, and even now that we have a climate change denying administration, more and more people are going to become climate change refugees to Seattle and the Northwest.
Yep.
And
absolutely.
so we're going to have an influx of migrants, climate asylum seeking migrants. A 70-year-old white couple from Texas who can no longer stand the 120-degree summer days.
Exactly, yes.
But Seattle has two other. Now that we're on the Reddit, Seattle has two other subreddits. There's R Seattle and then R Seattle WA. Seattle. And they are basically politically, ideologically polarized.
Is Seattle more liberal and Seattle WA more conservative?
Exactly. It's actually the people. Some Redditor actually, and it's weird because it kind of it's sort of like our current political system where the Republican and Democratic ideologies sort of switched back in the like 50s, 60s. Our Seattle WA was the more left-leaning one, and then became a little bit too toxic for some people, so they created our Seattle. But then, I don't know when this happened, but it happened. Our Seattle WA became more conservative, like really like neocon conservative. And somebody actually did a census of both subreddits at some point and determined that the people who are in the R Seattle subreddit actually live here, and the people in R Seattle WA don't live here but love complaining about the city. And one of the biggest indicators of that was there was one night where there was like 4-5 posts on R Seattle going, did anybody else hear that huge helicopter that just flew over the city? And what was that Black Hawk helicopter doing flying over downtown? Crickets on R Seattle WA because they didn't hear the helicopter because they live in like Renton or Bellevue or someplace outside of the city, but just love dunking on our liberal oasis over here.
Oh, speaking about
liberal, we're not a liberal oasis, but we're trying to hold on as long as possible.
In Chicago, there's r/Chicago, there's r/Chicago food, and there's r/Chicago suburbs. And one of the things that's fun is when someone from Chicago who wants to move to the suburbs asks r/Chicago, what suburbs do I live? Because like 10 people jump on and say, I think you want r/Chicago suburbs.
Yeah.
And don't let the door hit you.
Hashtag lost Redditor.
So, oh man, that's one of the things I hate the most. The times when I'm in a Reddit and people don't know. Like there's one called Stick right now.
Stick?
That's just like the reason I followed it. There's a dog who's happy that he found a stick. Like, oh, that's great. If someone were to post something like, from Daredevil, Stick from Daredevil, I would think that that's funny.
Yeah.
Right? But that's not exactly what.
There was.
Oh, speaking about which, the guy who plays Stick from Gargoyles.
From Gargoyles?
No, sorry. I'm starting over. The guy who played Stick.
Yeah.
In Daredevil.
Yeah.
Who I believe is the same guy who plays the dad in The Leftovers. Have you seen The Leftovers yet?
Have not seen The Leftovers. I'm trying to remember his name. The only
You gotta.
other place I've seen him is he played one of the sub-captains in The Hunt for Red October.
Well, if he's the guy I'm thinking about, there is a TV movie called Gargoyles, and in it,
Not based on the
plays,
Disney cartoon?
No, predates the Disney cartoon. In it, he plays a biker, and he's like this young biker dude, and you're like, okay, man, I get it. This makes sense now. He is a career, actor guy who's had a resurgence, right? Similar to the guy who plays Mike on Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad.
Jonathan Banks.
Jonathan Banks has been around forever.
Yeah.
You can find
we were just talking about Hitman earlier, weren't we?
Hitman?
Or not Hitman. What was the
Wise Guy?
Wise Guy. Same thing.
We were, yeah.
Scott Glenn. Scott Glenn is the actor who played Stick. He was also in The Right Stuff.
Okay, I think that's the right guy. I think I'm thinking of the same guy.
Maybe not.
Look it up. Was he in The Leftovers?
Looking. He plays Kevin Garvey Sr. in The Leftovers.
Yep. He's really good in it too. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
It's gone. I thought of something else to say about Scott Glenn, and it's gone. Thanks, Paul.
I'm glad that I watched through all The Leftovers before I lost HBO.
I finished Slow Horses. I think of all the TV shows I've ever watched, aside from Community, I blew through Slow Horses like probably at the fastest rate of any TV show I've ever watched.
I mean, I think the last time we talked, you just started watching the first season.
Yeah, it took me just a little over a week to watch the.
Yeah, but
granted,
so good.
There's
right?
only 6 episodes, right? It's like watching two movies per season.
Yeah. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good.
And what was confusing to me is that at the end of season 4, they're like, tune in next season of Slow Horses, and they have like clips from it. It's a tease, and then you look it up, and you're like, it's not supposed to be out until like August. I'm like, it looks like it's been filmed, and they're working on it. Why is it gonna take so long? Because it's an Apple TV show. It's not like they're waiting for it to air on like BBC or whatever, and then it comes over to streaming.
Yeah, I'm not sure. By the way, spoilers for Slow Horses. Get ready. The guy, the jerk guy who you know what I'm talking about.
Jackson Lamb, the lead character, played by Gary Oldman.
No.
Are you talking about Webb? Spider Webb?
Yes, Webb.
Yeah.
I really liked that they gave that actor that moment of when he demands to talk to the guy in charge, and then it's him.
Yeah, I
thought that was nice.
There are a couple twists there happening. That's one of those shows where, and I know we've already said spoilers, but okay, I'll say it. I'm really disappointed in the people they killed off. Because just like when you get to know a character and you like a character, you're like, oh, now they're gone.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
But I do like, there was one little Easter egg for Slow Horses that I picked up. I don't know if anybody else did, or if even it was intentional. So, the actress who played, I'm gonna have to look her up because I don't remember her actual name. I think she's Irish, so it's a weird, or Welsh, so it's a weird name. But she played Esme in Peaky Blinders, which I just watched. Seen this actress in a different TV show. And she played, her name is Amy Fionn Edwards. She plays Shirley. She plays the partner to Marcus, who, speaking of characters who died, he ate it in the last episode of season 4.
The gambler guy.
Yeah, the gambler. She played Esme Shelby in Peaky Blinders, and in her first episode, when Jackson Lamb is making a point of not caring to remember people's names, he points at her and he goes, Shelby. And she's like, Shirley. And then they continue the scene. I'm like, Gary Oldman said that because she's just coming off of Peaky Blinders.
That's nice. I didn't check it, but I did check that Shelby and Shirley aren't really close to each other, so, that makes sense. Yeah. I really like the way that they have her fight in Slow Horses, because it's like,
it's brutal.
Yeah, you look at her and you're like, how is that ever gonna? And then they have her do stuff, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
She's also a character, like an actor who looks like she's having fun with the part.
Yes, for sure. I think Jennifer called for me. I'm gonna check really quick.
All right.
So I'm still gonna be here. You're gonna hear me, but I'm gonna check and see.
What
and
are
Jennifer,
you wearing?
Did you call me? What's up? What?
Paul's wearing this
I'm doing the podcast.
Pajama onesie that's
it is Thursday.
Orange with black dots. When you first sat down, he kind of looked like he can probably still hear me because his headphones are still attached. I'm just
I can still hear you.
Describing what he's wearing. But the
can I take this?
Is
this mine?
You're away from your microphone, so the podcast can't hear you. The stream can still hear you, but the podcast can't hear you. So
exactly.
I'm narrating what you're wearing, and when you first sat down, it kind of looked like a Fred Flintstone top, even though I knew it wasn't. But when you stood up, I saw that it was a matching pair.
Yeah, it's a matching pair.
Are they pajamas?
They are pajamas.
Here, I'm back. It's dinner time. There's a moment in, I can't remember, I think it's one of the ones with Mike Fahm, one of the Spin the Bottle pieces we did with Mike Fahm. And
I was like, Mike Fahm isn't in Slow Horses.
And
what are you talking about?
Is it Blood? It has to have been Blood. Because Mike was there. So there's that moment where...
But isn't Mike after the shootout? He's in Blood.
Oh, wait, after the shootout. They were like one after another. After the shootout has us wearing bloody shirts, bloody tank tops. Anyway, there's a moment right before the lights go out and we hear the gunshots where I just say to you, are those pajamas? And you say, yeah. And... because you were wearing pajamas and at dinner that night. I'm like, Paul, are you wearing pajamas? And you're like, yeah. So we incorporated it into the bit. And Brett Fetzer, for some reason, is the only one in the entire audience who thought that was funny. So it
was funny though.
It's a charming little moment where I just ask you, are those pajama pants? You're like, yeah. And then we hear,
So, interestingly enough, there is a part in Twin Peaks: The Return where Ben Horn says to Jerry Horn, "Is that Mother's hat?" And it always reminded me of something. I've never been able to put my finger on what it is. And that's what it is. You asked me if I'm wearing pajamas.
I just saw E-Ray last night. He came to the show. Speaking of Twin Peaks: The Return.
Yes, E-Ray. In one of the cooler scenes, in my opinion.
Yeah. And
what is the name of the other actor?
John... I don't remember. We interviewed...
Sorry, Ben. Didn't mean to put you on the spot.
We interviewed him, too.
The reason I mentioned it is because his character is a really awful dude, but he's really nice in person.
He was a nice guy, yeah. While you're eating, and we're paused, I want to welcome new listener to the show, Catherine. Catherine said to me last night that she has subscribed to the podcast and it's on her rotation.
Catherine, thank you for listening. Sorry that I'm eating directly into the microphone, but as Stephen McCandless would say, it is all part of us being openly hostile to our audience.
Yeah. I should just keep the IMDb open during our show. I'm looking for the name of Jim Belushi was in it. I didn't know Jim Belushi was in it.
Oh my gosh, Jim Belushi is great in it as well.
Tim Roth, Harry Dean Stanton.
Yeah.
David Koechner, what?
Yeah, David Koechner is one of the police officers.
I'm looking for his name. This is Brett Gelman. I recognize that name. He's in
people mad at Brett Gelman right now.
Is he problematic? What did he do?
Very supportive of Israel and
okay.
everything they do.
Oh my God, Jelani Quinn's in it. Jelani Quinn was in my scene in 10 Things I Hate About You.
Who did she play in this?
Desk Sergeant. Alicia Witt, wow.
Yeah, it's a great star-studded cast, man.
John Ennis, Michael Cera. I am Facebook friends with John Ennis because every once in a while Facebook would say, "We think you know this person," and it would be like it suggested James Cromwell to me, and I'm like, all right, and I just started friending all these TV and movie stars that Facebook thought I knew, and John Ennis accepted my friend request.
John Ennis, what is a photocopier? One of my favorite sketches of all time.
There's just John Paulson. That's his name. I knew it was John.
John Paulson. John Paulson, wonderful guest of the podcast. John, thank you for appearing.
Yeah. Eddie Vedder?
You.
Jesus Christ. Linus Phillips. We know Linus.
Who's that?
He was
in the show. In the show.
Who's that? He plays a character named Russ. Just in one episode. We're getting down to the one episode players, and a lot of them are local actors. But Linus did a documentary he was filming when you and I were doing Spin the Bottle, and he came and performed a couple times called Walking to Werner. You remember this?
Mm-hmm.
So there's one Spin the Bottle. So he was a documentary where he's like walking and trying to find Werner Herzog. And because it was in reference to one of Werner Herzog's documentaries, Walking to Cambodia, or no, that's
Swimming to Cambodia.
Swimming to Cambodia.
That's spelled in gray.
Yeah. Anyway, so he came to a Spin the Bottle once, and his performance, he just like walked around the stage while I think one of his producers was talking about the show and like how you can support it financially and or with help. Anyway.
Yes. I gotta say, Ben, that you reading off people acting in Twin Peaks: The Return, incredibly, as the people would say, mark the time, incredibly my shit.
That I will have to.
I was very excited that you were doing that. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, what is going to happen to us culturally. I mean, obviously, there was an emboldening of people being nasty to each other a little bit.
I mean, and that's been a process over the last 10 years.
But I have to say this. I don't know how exactly to say it, but I like to follow the rules. I like to be a good boy, all that kind of stuff, man. The fact that, half the country voted Donald Trump in, and I operate under military rules. And what I mean by that is that Donald Trump is going to be the president, and he's going to be the president. He is the president. I'm not going to live in denial that he's not the president.
Yeah.
All that kind of thing. But all bets are off now. I mean, the fact that he's the president is crazy.
There's a growing movement amongst a bunch of left-leaning, or even people who aren't left-leaning, but people who just don't like Trump. Commentators and podcasters that I listen to. And a common refrain is, let's let Trump and company do their worst, destroy the lives of the most vulnerable people who voted for him, so they regret their vote. And that's that's one of the things. Like, let's show them that they made a terrible decision. And I'm like,
they're not gonna.
I'm like, A of all, don't do that. We have to try to not let everybody burn things to the ground, but also I can have whatever opinion I want about that thing in particular. I have no control over what gets burnt down and what doesn't.
Yeah. And here's the thing, they're already actively being harmed.
Yeah.
By a lot of these policies, and they don't see it, and they don't care. So, I mean, all I'm saying is, like, I still have a standard that I hold myself to, and try to maintain, etc. But come on, I mean, the I don't even say that you shouldn't like him. Okay, like him if you want, whatever. The fact that he's president is crazy.
Yeah.
There's just no way around it.
It's convicted 34 times, convicted felon, twice impeached, fomented an assault on democracy.
Yeah, so the fact that I'm not doing anything, like, people are like, there should be riots in the street. I've never been a riot in the street kind of guy.
I've marched. I haven't rioted.
And people talk about, that some people need to have olive branches, and that is me. I can get along with someone who I know would kill me if they could. I know that sounds weird, but like, people who actively dislike me. Hey man, hold on.
For those listening at home, I enthusiastically raised my hand.
Raised his hand. Come on. But but part of this, I mean, this is seriously, part of it is because I'm generally a paranoid person, right? I don't know who's plotting against me and who isn't, and et cetera, et cetera. So I'm used to that sort of distrust, right?
Yeah.
In general. But there has always been, up until this point, a thing where I'm like, I believe that people are, in general, good. If you give people the chance to do the right thing, they will. Which has proven to be untrue in a lot of situations. I'm not going to allow that to change who I am and what I do. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm making a gross generalization here, but like, when you say that you believe people on the whole are good, I believed it. Past tense. You believed that people on the whole are good. There's a thing that's happening where, if you take, and I'm not talking about a full-on MAGA voter, but a very right-leaning Republican, and you and let's say they voted. They want to say they voted. Maybe this is a MAGA. Let's just say it's a MAGA thing. They voted because they want to see the libs cry, right? They
Right.
voted not for their own interest, but because it's what the
Yep.
other side doesn't want.
Mm-hmm.
And you can consider that hatred. You can consider that bigotry because they actively hate trans people, asylum seekers, people of color. You know, but at the same time, I can see this person who generally might be like a middle America white person. If you're their neighbor and you meet them like in church and you say, look, I'm having an issue mowing my lawn, they'll come over and they'll mow your lawn.
Uh-huh.
So it's a weird thing. Like, what makes a person nice?
Right. So this is one of the things that happened to me. And this is maybe part of it. There's a guy. Not going to say his name. You don't know him anyway. But I was in a situation where he came up to me and he said, I noticed that you don't take a lot of pride in your appearance. I've got a whole bunch of old shirts that I don't wear anymore. Here you go.
Was this in Edwardsville?
Right. This was when I was living in that area, yes. So in this situation, right, he did something that was nice for me. But there was a lot of judgment attached.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I would suggest the people who are mowing the lawn, right, are doing it to be nice, but there's also a thing, an emasculating thing, if they mow your lawn for you. Because in their opinion, you should be doing that yourself.
Yeah.
So,
but they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart.
Here's the other thing. I know some people who I know for sure voted for Trump, right? 100%. That if I need someone who will be at a certain place at a certain time and will do something,
yeah,
right? They will do it, right? I'll have to listen to them. And I'm not going to change their opinion about what they think about this or that, but they will be there and they will do that thing.
Here's a question for you then. It's a purely hypothetical question, but would they still do that if they know that you did not vote for Trump?
Oh, they do know.
Okay.
They know. This is sort of like the lawn mowing thing that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Right? And this is what I would say. They're not friends of mine, right? I don't talk about work, Ben. I don't talk about work. What I'm saying though is that in the past, and this is I'm not talking about current work. I'm talking about in the past, right? I've worked with people who are conservative, vote conservative, whatever, and yet still have a strong work ethic, and I still can count on them to do stuff. And that is interesting. Again, this may be the autism thing, right? But there's a part of my brain that finds them useful.
The thing
is that I just don't talk to them about their personal beliefs. And I don't let myself be alone with them in social situations, right? Where there aren't already societal structures in place of how they're supposed to behave.
Right.
Basically. And I think that's going to be the thing that works out. Like, there was a comedian that I watched who said one of the things that I learned going through this election cycle, I didn't realize that I have gigs booked in so many red states, right?
Yeah.
And the reason is because the place where he goes, it's his fans who come and see him.
Right.
And so his jokes still land and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's part of it. I think that there are people, and I mean, you know that whole thing of, hey, why are you always more nicer to me when the other kids aren't around? I don't know if you've experienced that at all in like a grade school or a high school thing.
No.
But there are people, when I was a kid growing up, there were people who were nice to me until other people came around. And then they were mean to me along with the other people. They would bully me. And my impression at the time was that they were okay. And then when they got under the influence of their peers, right, when they were a group, then they would be bad. And so I avoided groups in general.
I do know what you mean. I can remember some instances like that where I just were like, the bully was nice, but then when other people are around, they became the bully again, and it's because they don't want to be seen by the other kids as being nice to me.
And that's sort of how I feel. And it's a two-edged thing, right? There is a type of conservative, especially like, you know, the Gen Z type that I've seen, whatever, who like all the cool stuff that they normally like. Oh, this is something. We're almost done, but I was on an online forum, Discord. You might be familiar with it, and somebody said that the reason that this election went the way it did was because Gen X has become conservative. And I was like, well, I don't know if that's true. And then I looked up the statistics, and it's Gen Xers are more right-wing than left-wing now.
It's what happens when you get older, allegedly. But also, they're like a Gen Z men, Kamala didn't get more than like, I don't remember the exact numbers, but like 30% of Gen Z men.
Yep,
Gen
exactly.
Z white, uneducated men.
Yeah. And so the thing basically is like, okay, so we are going to be in a situation where the people who say, I don't care if you're trans or not, right? I don't care about that. You do whatever, just don't blank. And then whatever blank is, you know, their thing. Like, don't bring it around me, or don't
show it off.
Do it around my kids, or don't, you know, whatever those things are.
Yeah.
They don't care as long as it doesn't affect them. And by them not caring, they mean they don't care. They will not care. If you're trans, or if you die and you're trans, there is a complete othering, and I just don't want to have to deal with it situation. But I mean, this is one of those things. Again, there was a guy who did a TikTok that I saw on Reddit, and I mean, it's not proof of anything anymore. We shouldn't trust it. But a guy who was like, you know, I was trying to celebrate with all my fellow people for voting Trump in, all my fellow MAGA people, and they kept on calling me slurs. And it's like, possibly so. Possibly that happened. This is just you talking about it. I don't know if you are actually.
But as the Mythbusters would say, it sounds plausible.
It sounds plausible. And I don't know. So it'll be interesting to see where we are, or how we navigate this, how it goes. You and I probably won't be thrown into the same camp if they throw people into camps.
No, we're too
Maybe
far
I
away.
Won't even...
We're too far
Did
away
you see
geographically.
the movie Civil War?
No, unless you're talking about the
No, not the
Marvel
Avengers one.
one, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty good. But in Civil War, I'm not. This isn't spoilers. The people that were fighting against the rest of the United States was, I think, California and Texas together. And when I was watching, I was like, how does California and Texas, how did they...
That's one hell of a team up.
Yeah. I mean, it would be, and maybe this is why, it's a significant population, right?
All I'm saying that if Canada wants to annex Western Washington and Western Oregon, I would sign off on that petition.
This is one of those things where I believe it was a conservative-made meme. It was like, this will solve the problem, and then it had, it had the map of the United States, and it showed all of California going to Canada and things like that.
And then you have like the Northeast, including New York City.
Yeah. And I think that was one of those things of, like, it was made by a conservative, but in the end, it didn't matter because everybody was for it.
It's something we can all agree on, which in this day and age is remarkable.
Except, of course, for the fact that Illinois was still in the United States portion. Not that I don't love America, then, and never let it be said that I am not a fan of the United States of America and all of the things that it does throughout history. But I was a little bit like, I didn't want to go to the prom anyway, but it would have been nice to be asked. The fact that they left Illinois out was a little, and heck, just take Milwaukee with it.
Actually, I think in that map, Minnesota was part of it, so just have it come down just a little bit further.
Yeah, well, I think Wisconsin is in between.
Yeah,
Minnesota and Illinois.
Very red. I saw a voting map, and you have Milwaukee, and that's it.
Actually, well, I mean, yeah, but Milwaukee still.
A lot of good beer there.
Almost got there. Maybe wouldn't have changed anything, but I guess I could say it now. I think I mentioned this before, but I was watching an election night, and I made a big sign. Jennifer's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Math," and she's like, "Okay, you have to go to bed." But I knew what I was going to wake up to.
Yeah,
because there was.
I was awake through the whole thing. Yeah. Sadly enough.
There's something. I mean, we're done. Obviously, it's at the end of the thing, but there was something that I was trying to think about. I can't remember.
Something new that happened since last we spoke was that the Republicans retained control of the House, so now the Republicans have all three houses. They have
that's right.
The Senate, the Congress, and the White House. Senate representatives in the White House. Yay!
So yeah, it's just like I said, I am in a bubble.
Yeah.
Now.
And you're a white man, a very privileged white man.
Yes. But did I talk about the haunted house?
Do you want to start that conversation now that we're from my?
I just want to know, did I talk about it?
I can't remember. What did you say about the haunted house?
Okay, so Betty and I went to a haunted house.
Yeah.
Last weekend.
Okay.
And it, November 9th?
I think you said you were going, but we haven't spoken since last weekend.
So we went there November 9th. We ate beforehand, and I didn't realize. So we were out of the city of Chicago, watching the place. All white people in the place, except for the people who were servers at the place. And I was like, oh man, this doesn't feel good. This feels claustrophobic. Don't like it. And I realized that that's what it's probably going to feel like going back.
Was it a predominantly black neighborhood? That's just where all the white people ate?
No. We live in a predominantly black neighborhood.
Okay, so this is a white neighborhood.
Where we ate was, I'm sorry, we ate at the place where the haunted house was, right, which is in the suburbs. I
less
might have
diverse.
left that out. Yeah,
but all the wait staff are people of color.
much less diverse, and most of the waist staff, yes. And it was just a little bit of about it. And I will tell you more on the Patreon then that we do not have. And until then, I ask you to keep it wrong. And well, how's it happening?
Keep it wrong, Paul. How's it happening? These are the changes. Whatever the response to that was. Anyway, talk to you later. Talk to you.